I want to give a warm welcome to everybody. You know, as Lynn said, we've been meeting for the last over a year and a half since the beginning of COVID. And it's been really meaningful in how we find ways to go forward with all the challenges that we face. And today it just feels so appropriate towards the end of the year to bring this program. You know, I always have Jean on my shoulders saying, Melinda, you know, you got to get focusing in other places and other structures, you know, not focusing just by itself. And so that's what our organization has been doing since we are now, what, 7, 8 years old, Pat. And we've been teaming up with local people who come to us with the need that it comes up to us with a need, and we don't just invent it, it's there. And every time, I'm going to ask everybody, please respectfully mute yourself, since we're going to have people from Pakistan and around the world. These are hard issues. These are big issues. These are children who are vulnerable, who are put in situations that don't have the chance to experience what it means to be a child. And so actually, I know I can speak for Pat and I, we feel really honored to be collaborating with Wajid and Basir and to try to make a little difference. And so again, I just thank you for being open to joining us today, because this is sort of an experiment for us, because we sort of do this behind the scenes, and now we're sort of outing ourselves and saying this is an instance of what we do. So I just want to give everybody a warm welcome and thank you for coming. And Pat's going to say a few more words.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And I really appreciate Wajid and Basir for offering to do this presentation on their work. Wajid, Naina Joy and I met Wajid back in 2005 after the Kashmir earthquake, when we were helping and focusing and some healing to the people who were first responders, and Wajid was one of those. And I've continued to work with Wajid over the years. He is a focusing trainer, an amazing man who has worked with vulnerable women, police, and trying to teach focusing and care to police and to people who have been affected by war or disaster or whatever, and poverty. And he came to us with this idea. And so we said, you need somebody to help you. So he reached out for Basir, who is someone I've worked with, Basir's father. So it's this wonderful spreading out. But Wajid finds people in need. And so this is an instance of people in need, and these are children. So I want to turn this over to Wajid and Basir to tell their story, and then we can talk about it.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for that very kind introduction, Pat. Me and Wajid basically are helping these children in Pakistan, and we have this presentation for you, which is about stories of robbed childhood. And in this, we're going to basically look at the sort of lives these children have and what they go through on a regular basis. So I'm going to shift it over to Wajid now, who's going to talk about and share with us some of these stories of these children.
Thank you, Basir. Children and vulnerability have so many faces. And this child, Khalid, is one of the so many children. He starts his day early in the morning when it is already dark. He lives in these dark alleys, small, narrow, dark alleys, in a one-bedroom house with very basic wash facilities and no kitchen. Well, they do their cooking inside the room when it is winters, and when it's summers, they do it outside. This child starts his day before dawn, and all he has is some naan bread, which is the local bread, some brown tea. It is called brown because it is black tea with a few drops of milk and a lot of sugar. After taking this breakfast, he comes out into these dark alleys and goes to the shop. A child who admired the stars that he used to see in the welding shop. But now he is forced because of COVID to work in these shops for almost $1 a week. As you can see in this picture, this child is exposed to all sorts of hazards. He does not have any protective gears. He does not have any shoes, no gloves, and no goggles or a helmet. His eyes are hurting. And when he goes home, his mother puts a bandage on his eyes because they are hurting and they will not close. But everyone tells him that you have to bear this pain, and soon, in a couple of months, the pain will be gone. But none of us know what damage it would have done to his eyes. But this is a child, he does all this work, and when he returns home, it is already dark. So he leaves these dark alleys when it is dark, and when he returns, it is already dark. And the moment he goes home and has a bit of meal, he hits the bed, his mother with the bandage on his eyes, trying to give him the strength. The mother knows the pain. The child knows the pain. But poverty, hunger are a bigger pain. Then we have these two brothers who work in a naan shop. You must have seen naan breads in Indian, Pakistani restaurants or restaurants from subcontinent. The way they are baked is you can see this hole in the ground. These children, they put these breads on the walls of this hole. And beneath that hole, which is called the oven or the tandoor, is a live fire burning. These children don't have any hair on their arms, their eyebrows, because they have to dip into this hole with live fire burning and put the naan bread on the walls. They have to paste that. And then they have to go down again and take those out. This is a process that they start early in the morning because everybody wants hot naan breads for their breakfast. So they start before dawn and then they work till late in the evening. Their story is also not very different from the other children. They also start their day when it is already dark. And when they reach home, it is already dark. If this child slips, it will be third-degree burns. And with no burn unit around, we know what will happen. This child is sitting on his knees, and most of these children develop knee problems when they are quite young. But these children are working because they get around $50 a day. They get an afternoon meal, which comprises of this bread and a soup with some lentils or with some vegetable. Their biggest trophy at the end of the day is the partially burnt breads or the breads that are left over, which they can take home to feed their families. Then similarly, we have, next slide, please. We have the small child working in a tea stall. Everybody wants a breakfast. All the shopkeepers, they come to the market very early in the morning. So this child has to be there so that tea is ready and served. He goes from shop to shop to deliver tea. He works in this shop to wash all the dishes. And then people in this city would love to sit in these tea shops and gossip till late in the evening, because that is the only form of recreation. And this child has to be present till the time that all the customers are gone, all the dishes are washed, stacked, and the shop is closed. That is when he leaves home, when he leaves for his home. Similarly, we have children who are selling different commodities on roadsides. This is illegal. So they have to bear the atrocities from the law enforcement agencies. There is no child protection. The only protection they have is to stand close by and be support to each other. They also start their day early in the morning and pushing this cart, which has a lot of, what they do is they put corn cobs in hot sand, and this is how it is cooked. And the sand with the cobs is poured into this cart, and you can see the wheels are made out of wood. So pushing this cart is not an easy job. And they have to push this to these places in the market for a couple of miles. And there's no help. But they are forced to do this. Then you can see all these hazardous jobs that these children are in. You can see they are not protected. They are working with equipment which is not safe. They are selling, or they, as you can see, some of the children in slide number 3 and 4 are selling things in the market, fruits, vegetable, kebabs. Some are working as laborers to take goods from one shop to another. All of these children have the same story. Are they children? When in one of the discussions, the teacher referred to them as children. And they said, teacher, we are not children. Children are the ones who play. Children are the one who we are earning money, we are earning hands, we are grown up. And in that discussion, one of the things was recreation, because these are the children who don't have any recreation. And it was, what would you like, where would you like to go? And one of the child says that, I see a park daily as I pass by for work. Since he's passing by, it is already dark. And when he's returning, it is already dark. So he sees this from outside, a fun land. And the child who's selling tea or working at the tea shop comes, joins in the discussion and says, this child says that when I pass by, I pray to God that, kindly do something with the bus so that it stops and I can go into this fun land. And at that point, the child who's selling the tea or working at the tea shop says, I've heard from a customer that in order to go in, you have to pay money. And we don't have money. So even if your bus develops some sort of fault and it stops there, and even if you are able to go to the gate, you will not be able to go in because we don't have the money. We have to feed our families. The money is for our families. Then when we asked a designer to design their classroom, the teacher went in and the designer went in and she had designed classrooms for schools. And she wanted to talk to these children on what are their dreams, so she can depict those dreams in the artwork on the walls. And she made a very strange comment. These children, they don't have any dreams. They've never watched a cartoon series, so they don't know what a cartoon is. They've not been to any amusement park. They've not played a game. These children would love to carry a school bag because that is what that gives them the happiness, because they feel that now they can relate to the children who go to school and are more fortunate. At Brighter Tomorrow, we give them a chance to live their childhood. We provide them with basic literacy. We give them a chance to relax and play, because that is the only time around midday when there are not much customers and the owners are able to let these children come to Brighter Tomorrow. They get a hot meal. And the most important thing is they get a chance to be listened to, because these are the children who have not been listened to. Nobody listens to them. And it is a great opportunity for them, because they can come in and they can tell us anything whatever is in their heart. That is how we have all these stories. Their employers won't listen to them. When they go home, there's not much time for talking, because either they are too tired, or their hands are burned, their eyes are burning. So these are the children. But we are happy that we are able to give them a window in the midday. Some of them come and they would just lie down on the mat and the carpet and go to sleep. For us, that is perfectly all right. Some of them would like to play, and some of them would like to talk, because we as focusers know what listening and empathetic listening can do. And that is why the teachers are trained, the social workers are trained. We don't have many social workers to work with us. People come in for a bit of time, but we give them some skills that they use for a day or two, for a session or two with these children. And then they can use these skills wherever they work. Thank you very much. This is a brief story. You can see these children. They're very young. Thank you very much. Over to you, Pat.
Okay, I think I'd like to give time to just maybe take a moment. It's a heavy story. And then maybe as it feels right, we can talk about it. However you want the discussion to go, it comes to you to say.
You can just unmute yourselves when you're ready to say something.
Wajid, I think, and Masir, I think that child labor is illegal in Pakistan, but what do you do when kids need to work? Do the shop owners get in trouble for having young kids, or what? I know the kids on the street aren't supposed to be selling things. Well, actually, I didn't know that. I bought that corn. It's really tasty. But do the kids or the shop owners get in trouble nowadays, or what? It's also about the kids, but you know,
It's very strange, and this is what I've been taking up with the parliamentarians. Now what has happened is that yes, child labor is illegal because we are signatories to CRC, the Child Right Commission. which is the United Nations, treaty on child labor. It has led into corruption. Now, the shop owners have to pay a certain amount to the inspectors, the child inspectors. The children who are selling things on the roadside in the markets, they have to pay a certain amount to what they call the association. And it is the association, which in other words is the mafia, who ensures that the authorities stay away. Again, if someone refuses to pay, the children are taken into custody. Though the law says that you cannot take any child into custody. And when I have this discussion with the Child Rights Commission, they say, no, what we do is we take these children, we don't put them in the lockup rooms, but we keep them in the police station. Now, our police stations are from the colonial era. They are not modern police stations, whereby such children are not exposed to. We still have different ways of punishing people, and these children are looking at them. So Nana, it is very hard. And my suggestion to the parliamentarian even today is, instead of banning child labor, you should have laws whereby the owners should be bound to give them some facilities, make their life easy. Now, when we talk to we are going through an hyperinflation. And the amount that these children are getting have not been raised. And when we talk to the owners of the shops, they say, we would have loved to increase the amount of money we pay them, but we are paying the authorities too. So if you read that report on United Nations website, it has a lot of praises, because we are a country who have banned child labor. We have a country who would punish anyone who keeps a child.
Watch it. I always have to go towards the light. And what I'm
Yeah.
curious about is what are you hearing from the kids about this program? What's.
Well, it's as I told you, it's a great opportunity for these children. It's a great opportunity because their parents are happy. Children, when it is midday and they don't have much work at the shops, they have time to relax. They can tell their stories. They can say whatever is there in their hearts. They can relax, they can have a meal, they can, they have an opportunity now to visit the place which was only there in their dreams, the fun land. So for them, I know this is not ideal, but still they have a window of opportunity where they can live their childhood, where if things improve with their families, this literacy can help them go back into the schools. Now they know how to do calculations.
One of the things, let me interrupt just briefly, is that this curriculum is designed for children of the street or on the street. And it is designed for getting them back into the regular schooling. So it's a bridge that keeps them current to where they should be. And it was specially designed for this. And the teachers have been trained in this. And we consider ourselves very fortunate that Wajid knew about this program in Pakistan, so we could bring it in.
I'm
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just wondering if the shopkeepers are cooperative with letting the kids go to school in the middle of the day, and how long do they have from 12 to, how long do they have to be in the school?
Well, it's around 2 hours,
Mhm.
Which is good enough time.
Mhm.
And again, we are flexible. We are flexible because let us say in one of the businesses, if they are, if they are coming at 1 and leaving at 3, and from another business, they are coming at 2 and leaving at 4. So we are flexible to that.
Mhm.
So it's and again, the shopkeepers, we have to sit with them, drink a lot of green tea with them in order to convince them.
Uh-huh.
And
I want to
I-
jump in again, Wajid, because I think one of the things that's really amazing about this program are how many different people and groups are donating to Brighter Tomorrow, local people. I think, Wajid, you said the school has donated space.
yes,
The bags were donated.
the
The school
bags were
bags.
donated. Then now we have, because the picture you saw was with the mat, and now we have a carpet with a foam layer beneath the carpet. Now the classroom is decorated by these young girls who do it for schools on payment.
Mm.
So it's the local community who come in and who are taking interest or ownership. So it's again, the teachers are also volunteer. So it's something which is because everybody wants, even when we talk to the shopkeepers, they say we hate hiring children, but they say if we don't hire them, yes, we hire them because they're cheap labor, but if we don't hire them, what will they do? Will they go and be hired by some drug mafia who would use them as carriers for drugs? Because as per law, you cannot give them any punishment for carrying drugs. So it's Again, coming back to Melinda's question, the joy that we see on the faces of these children and the way they are running into the classroom, because that is something which they look forward to. They're not like me, who was pushed into the school every day. So it's this feeling of going to places which they thought were out of bound for them. Having an opportunity to watch cartoons. So it's, yes, we ensure that the curriculum is followed, that by the end of a specified period, these children are able to go back. But this is also giving them an opportunity, because one of the child who works in a machine shop can measure things accurately as compared to his teacher, because his teacher is illiterate. And now the teacher is dependent on this child, because he's the one who can actually take the measurement and write them on a piece of paper. So it's
Wajid, maybe it's time that we do the breakouts. What do you think?
And then we'll come back and have more time to process.
Yeah.
Together.
Something that came up in our group was wondering about how Melinda and Pat, how you support, how are you connected with what Rajid does?
Well, we're working, I'll let Pat speak too, but we're working very closely with them weekly, meeting with them and hearing progress. They're telling us stories that we're putting up on our website. They're sharing needs that they have. When he talked to us about the amusement park, we created a GoFundMe so we could raise the money to so the kids can have a day of fun. So it's just listening to the needs of the program and trying to support it as best as we can.
So does some of the money that we provide go towards this work, or?
Basically, most of it.
Okay.
Yeah, most all of it. Yeah, it was Wajid's idea. It was Wajid's energy and planning. Wajid came to us and said, "This is what I'd like to do." And we said, "Okay, how can we help?" Anna Willman is also involved in all of the processing and listening and such. But I don't know about Melinda, but I feel privileged to be able to help at all. I mean, it's just what Wajid and Basir are doing, I think is I'm so grateful. Let me just say it that way. So grateful for what they do.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, when we were talking, I was feeling fullness after hearing this story, and I just wanted to say a thought or a feeling that came to me, that sometimes it's in the darkest places that the brightest lights shine. That it's the tale of these children is so sad and tragic, and the looks on their faces when they come into the classroom are such bright light. And they may seem like they have no dreams, but when you bring hope to someone's world when there was no hope there before, that's brilliant light.
Yes. I really appreciate that thought. And it's wonderful to hear the concrete things like you, Melinda and Pat, were telling us about what's being done and listening to the children. And the more concrete it is, the more I can picture this.
There's another thing too, which is focusing enriches your life, whether you're poor or wealthy, whether you're educated or not educated. Focusing just really deepens and enriches everyone's life who experiences it, I think. And through these programs, I mean, all the teachers are being trained in focusing. The children are being listened to in a focusing way, which teaches them how to listen to their siblings in a focusing way. It's at the same time that we are giving them meals and literacy and a trip to Funland, we're also giving them a life skill that will make their lives richer and deeper, no matter where they are in the economic scale of things.
And all the people that they connect with, right? It's a
Yes.
spiral.
It's cascading effect. That's one of the wonderful things I've found about the work at Focusing Initiatives is that everything we do, there's a multiplier effect. It's not just the people who work with us, but the lives they connect with.
And let me just mention also one thing about Mary's question too, is that this was a pilot project. So we are only starting off with what, Wajid, was it 60 children? And if we have more funding, we would reach more children. I think you were saying that this could really be could grow.
That's our hope. That's our intention.
Well, I think, yeah, and Wajid just, go ahead.
This is basically, we are looking at it as a pilot project. And, we are closely documenting and we are closely taking notes of lessons learned as we are going forward. And now, we already have a request from another group who would like to replicate this for girl child, for girls. So it's already there, and we are trying to bring in people. We are trying to bring in people from different stratas of life. That is why when we were inaugurating this, it was a female member of parliament, a member of the Women Parliamentary Caucus, and someone who is in the Standing Committee on Child Right that we brought in, and she calls in once a while to see how it is proceeding. So it's something that we show people which is doable. And again, when she was inaugurating this and she met these children, and one of the very interesting things that she said was, I would like to see these children after 6 months or a year, and I would like to see the difference in them. And even I see a difference, and I think Basir would also be, Basir also is there. And the difference is that, these children, now they talk. They're not the ones who would be just sitting there and not giving their opinions, what is in their heart, which is great. It's a paradigm shift in their lives. And and that is why I say this is a pilot. This is a pilot which is going to teach us a lot. And again, children are children anywhere. We have vulnerable children all around the globe. And so that is why, it's a pilot that is going to teach us, and that is going to teach the focusing community to go out into the world. Because I think the world is waiting, and it is up to us to go out and be a part of that world and teach them some very simple, very basic focusing techniques.
One of the things that I was sensing was that this is a magnet for, this project is a magnet for showing love. It's like the people in the community start, oh, we can join in this. We can have a way to show these children we care. Even what you said, Wajid, about the shopkeepers, they care about the kids, but they're in a bind. And they were able to say they care. And maybe that's going to make a little bit of difference to the way they treat the kids when they, after they, well, we see you care. We see, and the people that came to decorate the class, and the people that are pitching in, it's like a place to show that people all around them care, and that makes a difference to kids. That they know somebody cares. That makes a difference to any of us if we're getting the message, oh, somebody loves me, somebody cares.
Absolutely.
Waji Saab, my name is Shashi. I wanted to ask, ये आपसे पूछना, I wanted to ask you that what happens to the families who depend on this income resource from these children? What happened to them?
Well, as I said, COVID, businesses closed, then hyperinflation. Again, that is a cause of closure of businesses. The other thing is that international politics is a killer. And this city was dependent on a lot of cross-border activities with Afghanistan. Now that the border is fenced, no one can move from this city across the border and vice versa. So all those businesses which were with the cross-border trade, even in India or in other countries, what we see is that people who are in the border towns, they are highly dependent on each other. So everything came at one time. The border was fenced, and Corona came in, businesses closed, and now the businessmen don't have enough money. All they can do is hire, and now that is why children are in high demand, because they're cheap. And that is the only way the businesses would survive, they think.
Which city are you in?
I'm in Peshawar.
In Peshawar.
Which is about 1 hour's drive from the border.
So the families of these children are not upset that you've taken their resource of income away?
No, they're working. These children are still working. We only get them from their shops and the businesses for 2 hours a day.
Oh.
So they're still employed in these shops.
I see.
And one of the vision and one of the things, so many things can come out of this. And that was, instead of the pit tandoor, maybe these children in future would have a different kind of a tandoor, which in Persian is called diwari.
The wall.
It's yeah, a wall. So yes, so they can have that sort of a bakery. Then their skills would be different. They will not be so much exposed. So it's basically a lot of learning for us and even these children. And when we sit with their the owners of the businesses, we talk to them about how can we bring a change.
I think it's a lot of love being spread around, a lot of care being spread around, and that is life. That is just amazing. That's wonderful. Thank God for that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm very touched. Yeah.
Thank you.
In a way, it's like a harm reduction model of not trying to change everything, but given the situation, to make the harm less and more opportunity and more hope, more connectedness, more community.
Yes, I want to say thank you for all that and for what I was that you do. It's so great to see programs that are integrated into the system over there. So with people who understand all the intricacies and how help can really help. and now get to an end, dead end. It's wow, it's amazing. It was really very moving, very touching, and also to understand a little more the culture, what we're working with. So thank you, Bajid and Melinda and all the others. I don't know their names.
So focusing in this situation, focusing is really saying, let me acknowledge you as a loving human being, or for 2 hours a day at least, if nowhere else, right? It's almost like that. It's almost like that. Let me acknowledge you as a loving human person, or for 2 hours a day. I mean, 2 hours. That's priceless. Yeah.
That 2 hours can spread throughout, through your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can take it home. Go ahead.
Do you also continue the contact with the shop owners? Because if the child opens up and the child changes, it must be different. The whole situation changes.
Yes.
Also, when and it must be so hard for you to really hold this whole situation because it doesn't fundamentally change. The children have to go back. So are you also focusing in a way indirectly by tea drinking with the shop owners, or how is that whole situation?
Stephanie, I'm not sure I understood exactly your question. Were you asking Wajid how he?
Yes, or how is it? So the children, they come into the program, they are heard. They also realize what's happening to me should actually not happen in that way. If I have to weld or so, I should have goggles, I should have eye protection. They might have they sense and feel and realize, things. So they change, and the children who come into the program will change and will not be the same if they go back into their work situations. So I wonder, is there also continuous contact with the shop owners who send their children to the program?
Yes, there's a constant there's a constant contact with the shop owners, and that is why we try to engage them in small activities. As far as the realization is concerned, yes, there is realization, but we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful not to it is a very delicate rope
Mhm.
that we are walking on, because we want the support of these shop owners. We don't want to, how would we say, would antagonize be the start
Mhm.
the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really want to be to take them along as friends, along
Mhm.
as companions. Uh, they know, the shop owner knows what an auto darkening helmet is, but he cannot afford it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that takes us into a very different, but yes, what we see is that there will be, with realization, there will be a big change.
Yeah.
But it is going to take time. It is
Yeah.
going to take time, and be, patience is very hard.
Yes, I can imagine that that is very hard for anybody to be in this program to hold. So,
So it's
We may have time for one more sharing before Pat has something at the end to share with us.
I think Dorothy has put a note that she has a poem
we
for us.
worked that, we already worked that out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, maybe I'll just only say thank you to Ajid. It's really beautiful what you're doing. And I guess I just wanted to reiterate that, it's an overwhelming problem, but just the giving time and attention to these kids. And one thing I really appreciate very much about your approach is it feels very, it seems to me that it's quite, in a way, natural and organic. I mean, it's obvious what these kids need, right? Like there's no question about what they need, and you're just doing what you can, rather than trying to, yank them out of their lives and say they should be in school and not working. You're recognizing all of the complexity of the situation, and that adding 2 hours a day seems to me just fantastic. I mean, that's actually quite significant. But it's also in keeping with all of the considerations, the fact that they do need to work, that there is a value there, and that there's a community there. And someone else said something about the, planting seeds of love, and allowing the shopkeepers to, be part of the caretaking, perhaps in some way. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you for your work. It's really wonderful, inspiring.
Thank you.
Yes, I want to reiterate that it's really heartening to hear about it, and just to feel like we are all one community over so many different places and circumstances, and that we're together in this.
Yeah. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today, and Pat has something closing for us.
This is an excerpt from The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wingro. They say, we are projects of collective self-creation. What if we approached human history that way? What if we treat people from the beginning as imaginative, intelligent, playful creatures who deserve to be understood as such? What if, instead of telling a story of how our species fell from some idyllic state of equality, we ask how we came to be trapped in such tight conceptual shackles that we can no longer even imagine the possibility of reinventing ourselves?
And I just want to thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts for your support, because your donations actually goes directly to supporting projects like this. So in the season of giving, I just want to say thank you, and have a wonderful week, and hope to see you next week. Be well.
And what about the poem?
Shall we
The
still,
poem?
shall
The
we
poem?
still on? Okay, Dorothy.
Oh, did you still want me to share? Okay, okay. The was actually from Consolations by David White, his book. It's a newer book. And it's the word gratitude just has come to my mind and really added to by this presentation today. This really spoke to me. And also gratitude for Lynn and Melinda, Christine, for this this whole program of helpers. Gratitude is not a passive response to something we have been given. Gratitude arises from paying attention, from being awake in the presence of everything that lives within and without us. Gratitude is not necessarily something that is shown after the event. It is the deep, a priori state of attention that shows we understand and are equal to the gifted nature of life. Gratitude is the understanding that many millions of things come together and live together and mesh together and breathe together in order for us to take even one more breath of air, that the underlying gift of life and incarnation as a living, participating human being is a privilege, that we are miraculously part of something rather than nothing. Even if that something is temporarily pain or despair, we inhabit a living world with real faces, real voices, laughter, the color blue, the green of the fields, the freshness of the cold wind, or the tawny hue of a winter landscape. To see the full miraculous essentiality of the color blue is to be grateful with no necessity for a word of thanks. To see fully the beauty of a daughter's face is to be fully grateful without having to seek a God to thank him. To sit among friends and strangers, hearing many voices, strange opinions, to intuit inner lives beneath surface lives, to inhabit many worlds at once in this world, to be a someone amongst all other someones, and therefore to make a conversation without saying a word is to deepen our sense of presence, and therefore our natural sense of thankfulness that everything happens both with us and without us, that we are participant and witness all at once. Thankfulness finds its full measure in generosity of presence, both through participation and witness. We sit at the table as part of every other person's world while making our own world without will or effort. This is what is extraordinary and gifted. This is the essence of gratefulness. Seeing to the heart of privilege, thanksgiving happens when our sense of presence meets all other presences. Being unappreciative might mean we are simply not paying attention.